All glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga. All glory to Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone to the morning Bhagavatam class. Today we are reciting the verse from Canto 3, chapter 32, the title Entanglement in Fruitive Activities, and the text 28. I also wish a happy Govardhan Puja day today. So, okay, let's read the verse text 28. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Text 28. Jnanam ekam parachinair indrair brahmanirgunam avabhati artha rupena brantya sabdadi dharmina Jnanam ekam parachinair indriyair brahmanirgunam avabhati artha rupena Bruntya sabdadi dharmina Jnanamekam parachinair Indriyair brahmanirgunam Avabhati artha rupena Brantya shabdadi dharmina Jnanamekam parachinair Indriyair brahmanirgunam Avabhati artha rupena Brantya shabdadi dharmina Jnanamekam parachinair Indriyair brahmanirgunam Avabhati artha rupena Brantya shabdadi dharmina Jnanamekam parachinair Indriyair brahmanirgunam Avabhati artha rupena Brantya shabdadi dharmina Jnanamekam parachinair Indriyair brahmanirgunam Avabhati artha rupena Brantya shabdadi dharmina Jnanamekam parachinair Indriyair brahmanirgunam Avabhati artha rupena Brantya shabdadi dharmina. Okay, word to word meaning? Jnanam, knowledge. Ekam, one. Parachina, ours. Indriya, by the senses. Brahma, the supreme absolute truth. Nirgunam, beyond the material modes. Avabhati, appears. Artha rupena, in the form of various objects. Brantya, mistakenly. Shabda adi, sound and so on. Dharmina, endowed with. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Please repeat with me. Those who are averse to the transcendental realize is the supreme absolute truth differently through speculative sense perception, and therefore because of mistaken speculation everything appears to them to be relative. Purport. It's a quite long purport. Please read it. Purport. The supreme absolute truth, the personality of God is one and He is spread everywhere by His impersonal feature. This is clearly expressed in the Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna says, everything that is experienced is but an expansion of my energy. Everything is sustained by Him, but that does not mean that He is in everything. Sense perception, such as oral perception, the sound of a drum, visual perception of a beautiful woman, or perception of a delicious taste of a milk preparation by the tongue, all come through different senses and are therefore differently understood. Therefore, sensory knowledge is divided in different categories, although actually everything is one as a manifestation of energy of the Supreme Lord. Similarly, the energies of fire or heat and illumination, and by these two energies, fire can display itself in many varieties or in diversified sense perception. Mayavadi philosophers declare this diversity to be false, but Vaishnava philosophers do not accept the different manifestations as a false. They accept them as non-different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead because they are a display. They are a display of His diverse energies. The philosophy that the absolute is true and this creation is false, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, is not accepted by Vaishnava philosophers. The example is given that although all the glitters is not gold, this does not mean that a glittering object is false. For example, any oyster shell appears to be golden. This appearance of golden hue is due only to the perception of the eyes, but that does not mean that oyster shell is false. Similarly, by seeing the form of Lord Krishna, one cannot understand what He actually is, but this does not mean that He is false. The form of Krishna has to be understood as it described in the books of knowledge such as Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachitananda Vigraha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead as an eternal blissful spiritual body. By our imperfect sense perception, we cannot understand the form of the Lord. We have to acquire knowledge about Him. Therefore, it is said here, Jnanam Ekam. Bhagavad Gita confirms that they are fools who simply upon seeing Krishna consider Him a common man. They do not know the unlimited knowledge, power and opulence of Supreme Personality of Godhead. Material sense speculation leads to the conclusion that Supreme is formless. It is because of such mental speculation that the conditioned soul remains in ignorance under the spell of illusionary energy. The Supreme Person has to be understood by the transcendental sound vibrated by Him in Bhagavad Gita, wherein He says, there is nothing superior to Himself. The impersonal Brahman effulgence is resting on His personality. The purified, the absolute vision of Bhagavad Gita is compared to the river Ganges. Ganges water is pure, that it can purify even the asses and cows, but anyone who, disregarding the pure Ganges, wishes to be purified instead by the filthy water flowing in a drain cannot be successful. Similarly, one can successfully attain pure knowledge of Absolute only by hearing from the pure Absolute Himself. In this verse, it is clearly said that those who are in averse to Supreme Personality of Godhead speculate with their imperfect senses about the nature of Absolute Truth. The formless Brahman conception, however, can be received only by oral reception and not by personal experience. Knowledge is therefore acquired by oral reception. It is confirmed in Vedanta Sutra, Shastra Yonitva. One has to acquire pure knowledge from the authorized scriptures. So-called scriptures arguments about absolute truth are therefore useless. The actual identity of the living entity is his consciousness, which is always present while the living entity is awake, dreaming or in deep sleep. Even in deep sleep, he can perceive by consciousness whether he is happy or distressed. Thus, when the consciousness is displayed through the medium of subtle and gross material bodies, it is covered. But when the consciousness is purified in Krishna consciousness, one becomes free from the entanglement of repeated birth and death. When uncontaminated pure knowledge is uncovered from the modes of material nature, the actual identity of the living entity is discovered. He is eternally a servant of Supreme Personality of Godhead. The process of uncovering is like this. The rays of sunshine are luminous, and thus itself is also luminous. In the presence of the sun, the rays illuminate just like the sun. But when the sunshine is covered by the spell of cloud or by Maya, then darkness, the imperfection of perception begins. Therefore, to get out of the entanglement of spell of nescience, one has to awaken his spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness in terms of the unauthorized scriptures. Let's do Mangalacharan. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Tanvitam Sam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Krupa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktarunda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna. So very long purport. There are so many interesting and important points. So we will try to discuss as many as possible in a given time. So we are continuing the conversation between Mother Devahuti and Kapila Muni. So the discussion, if you see the title of this chapter is Entanglement in Fruitive Activities. So how the conditioned living entity will be trapped in this material world, how he is unable to come out. That is why in this chapter Kapila Muni is explaining. So if you try to revise this from the beginning of this chapter and try to put the context in which the verse was spoken. So in the beginning of this chapter, Kapila Muni was segregating the two classifications mainly, Grihastha and Grihamedi. Grihastha is the one family, those who keep Krishna in the center of their life. Grihamedi means the people who are material sense, their main motivation is sense enjoyment. So these are the broad categories. The destination of Grihastha is either he will be going to, when he is following the Krishna conscious path, Grihastha, keeping Krishna in the center, he will be going back to the spiritual planet, Goloka or Vaikuntha. That's where in Bhagavad Gita it is spoken, Natad Vasayate Suryo, Nasashanko na Pavaka, Yergatva na Nivartante, Taddama Paramamama. So those who follow Krishna conscious path, Grihasthas, they will go to the spiritual abode, which they will never come back to this material world. And when other category, the Grihamedis, their main focus is enjoying this material world. What will happen? They will be taking this universe is having 14 planets, right from Satyaloka, the Brahmaloka to hellish planet. So when we do the material, even we are involved in material activities, sense enjoyment, he will be taking birth in any of these 14 planetarities. Again and again, repeated birth and death, and he will be going through all these 14 planetaries, right from heaven, the Brahmaloka, Satyaloka and all heavenly planets to right from hellish planet to bottom hellish planets. So, but this is where, what is their destination? It, again, Bhagavad Gita was telling, Abrahma Bona Loka Punaravritino Arjuna Mamapit Kaunteya Punarjanma Navidyate. So, Krishna is saying that when you take birth in these 14 planetary systems, again you have to taking repeated birth and death. Only when you come to his abode, you will be coming back to this. You will never come back to this matter. So this is how the Kapila Muni was explaining that when if a person is entangled in fruitive activities, materially motivated, what is his destination? When the person is spiritually inclined, the Krishna is the center of their life, what will be their destination? Then as a result, and Krishna is saying, so finally what he is recommending Kapila Dev is that the taking the shelter of Krishna, the performing devotional service to Krishna is the ultimate aim, shelter, ultimate solution to come out of this material entanglement. So, and then subsequent verses, Kapila Muni was speaking, what would be the ultimate benefit of taking devotional service? That when we take the devotional service to Krishna, Supreme Lord, we will be having knowledge. Knowledge means who are we? I am not the body, I am the soul. And what is our connection with Supreme? And what is our ultimate dharma? All these details will be revealed. And apart from that, you will get renunciation. You will automatically, these are the byproducts. When you do perform devotional service, you don't expect, not doing for these to achieve these things, but rather you will, when you perform devotional service, you will get knowledge and you will get renunciation. Renunciation means you will be coming out of this material enjoyment. So your priority will be not materially enjoying, rather your mind will be shifted towards Krishna. And one more point is your self-realization will be happening. So these are the byproducts of devotional service when we perform to Krishna. And then Kapila Muni was clear in this today's verse, when we can in the today's verse, so Kapila Muni is trying to explain more in detail. Like people, he is saying that we have to perform devotional service, but in general, to devotional service to Supreme Lord Krishna. But what is happening? Not everybody is able to follow this instruction. The reason is people having different understanding, different maturity levels, right? So because of all these and materially contaminated, conditioned nature, all these things causing people to follow different paths. Not everybody is focusing on supreme absolute truth. But in Bhagavatam is saying the supreme absolute truth can be realized in three ways. Right? Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan, iti sadyati. So, Supreme Absolute Krishna can be seen in three levels. One is at Brahman level, which is effulgence of Krishna. And next, Paramatma, who is sitting in everyone's heart, is witnessing all our activities. And the Bhagavan is the ultimate, the topmost person, the form of the Krishna. So, we have, these are the three levels, and the conclusion is that worshipping at the Bhagavan level is the topmost thing. And but in today's verse, what Krishna, Kapila Muni is saying that this understanding is the problem. Not everybody is able to understand this fact, this truth, that Bhagavan is the topmost, is the person. So this is where in the purport, the Prabhupada was detailedly explaining various inputs, like some of the Mayavada philosophy, how they are treating, and how the devotional people are perceiving, and finally, to come out of this entanglement, what is the shelter approach the Kapila Muni was explaining. So, when people are, the main topic which we are trying to discuss is understanding absolute truth, understanding Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, in the rest of the topic we focus on why we are not able to understand absolute truth, what are the challenges, and how we can understand this absolute truth, Krishna. So, when we see, generally if you attend any of the personality development courses or any of the motivational speakers, what generally we need to see the positive thinking, right? They will say, example, if a glass of water, a glass is there, which is filled with half of the glass, then if people ask you to see what is there, then people will say, some people will say half empty, right, glass, and some people will say half full. Same thing is there, but people are seeing it differently. The same analogy we can apply here. When we see the Supreme Absolute Truth, some people will say only up to Brahman level. And some people will think it as a Paramatma. And some people will say full absolute truth, Bhagavan is the topmost. Same way, like people with the understanding will be different, their consciousness will be different, and their condition nature is different. So because of all these various reasons, they will be interpreting in a different way. And Krishna mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, ye tamam prapajyate tamstataiva bhajamiham, right? So whatever the amount of whatever level of surrenderness you have, he will reciprocate in that way. So the Krishna, that's why people who are focusing on only Brahma Jyoti level, Brahman level, they will be merging with Brahman. Those who are for seeing the Paramatma level, they only see Paramatma and that's. But those who are having the Bhagavan feature, they will have a proper interaction with Krishna. They will have, Krishna will exchange in different rasas, 5 primary rasas and 7 secondary rasas there are. So Krishna will be interacting with them in those rasas. So that is the ye tamam prapajyante tam stataiva bhajamiham. So Krishna will reciprocate according to our level of understanding and our level of maturity. And today is a Govardhan Puja we are celebrating, and I would like to connect some of the pastimes of the Govardhan Leela to this verse, try to understand. We try to link it. So when the Nanda Maharaj was preparing to do the Govardhan Puja, and all other Brajavasis are trying to assisting Nanda Maharaj to arrange the Puja, Govardhan Puja, and Krishna went there and he was asking, what are you doing? Why are you doing this puja? And then initially Nanda Maharaj was ignoring it. He is not trying to answer because Krishna is a very small child. So he thought, okay, there is no need to explain him. But Krishna was keep on insisting him to explain. Then the Nanda Maharaj was saying, okay, so today we are trying to do Indra Puja. Then Krishna was asking, why are you doing the Indra Puja? And in this way, Krishna was asking the question, why people in this perform? When people perform the activities in this world, some people will do knowing the reason why we are doing the particular activity, and some people will blindly follow as a tradition. And Krishna is finding out from Nanda Maharaj, are you blindly following it or do you know the reason of this? Then Nanda Maharaj was explaining, right? So Nanda Maharaj was explaining to Krishna that okay, Indra is the representative of all the clouds, and when we worship Indra, the rains will come. When the rains will come, then the nice grass will be there, and the cows will be eating the grass. With that, we will get so much milk, and so this way we will get all the proper. We will be able to lead the life. So because if we don't perform Indra Puja, Krishna will not be, Indra will not be happy. So he will not supply the milk. So in this case, one of the important point is, like Krishna was asking, is whether we are understanding whether any activity we perform in devotion, are we understanding or we are blindly following the tradition, custom, without knowing. That is the important thing. So even the Nanda Maharaj, this is the Leela. Nanda Maharaj and all other the eternal associates of Krishna, but they are, as part of Leela, they are worshipping Indra, the demigod. Though Krishna is there in their house, he is the father of Supreme Lord in this Leela, but still he is worshipping demigod Indra. So that's why Krishna is asking, do you know the reason or you are blindly following it? And not only that, he was asking another question. Is this mentioned in any of the scriptures? Is this that one, or you are blind, just as a social custom you are following? So all these questions were asking, Krishna was asking, and Nanda Maharaj was saying that okay, since Indra will be unhappy if you don't please him, so we will not get the rains, so we will not be able to develop. So then the important point which I would like to highlight is the knowing the things what we are doing. Similarly, when we try to understand the spiritual subject as well, or when we do perform devotional service, like in the Kartik month, every day we are trying to offer lamp. We know that is it just as a custom, everybody is offering. Are we offering? Or we know the purpose of it, right? So these are small things. Sometimes we need to understand it. So any activity, any devotional activity we do, unless we know the reason, without knowing the reason, if we perform, still in this case Kartik month you will get the benefit. But there is a problem that in some other people are following something else, some demigod worship or anything, and you simply blindly follow the same custom. What will happen? without knowing that, having the proper knowledge, just blindly follow the custom or tradition, sometimes there is a risk that you try to do some material activities, with material motivation, you worship demigod, as you will get return. So it's like whatever you get from the demigod, it's like a temporary thing, and you have to take the reaction. It's not a devotion, pure proper devotion. You have to take the reaction, and so that way you will entangle in the material world. So without knowing any reason, if you perform any activity, it may lead to demigod worship, and that may lead to entanglement in your material world. So that is a possibility. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is saying clearly, right? Worshipping the demigod is not a intelligent thing. He said avidhi purvakam in the one of the Bhagavad Gita verses, right? So even him, Krishna was saying that whatever if you are worshipping demigods for a particular, to fulfill your any of the desires, so then when the demigods may fulfill the desire, but indirectly Krishna is sanctioning them, Krishna is inspiring them to give the result. So indirectly you are worshipping the Krishna only. But this approach is not accepted. So the important point we can understand is to avoid getting into the material entanglement. First thing is we should know what we are doing, and we should understand why we are doing. Is it a scriptural injunction is there, or just traditional custom? So if you blindly follow, there is a chance that you will be entangled in the result of that activity may drag you into the material entanglement, and you may not come out. So this is one of the key lessons we can understand from this pastime. And the pastime continues. Then Nandamai, there was so many. Krishna explains the karma mimamsa philosophy. We are not going to touch that aspect. But finally, Nanda Maharaj was got convinced. Then initially Nanda Maharaj tells that, okay, I will perform Indra Puja now, but we'll do Govardhan Puja later. Because Krishna recommends to perform Govardhan Puja. Because Govardhan hill is there where our cows are spending time eating the grass. He is supplying the grass. So it's better to worship Govardhan rather than Indra. So Krishna, finally Nanda Maharaj got convinced. He was started doing the Govardhan Puja. All the Brajavasis made nice offerings, everything, and Govardhan Puja happened. Finally, Indra got to know this, that okay, these people stopped worshipping. Then he got very angry, and finally we know he sent some Vartaka clouds, which will be coming only during the annihilation of this world, material world. And Krishna, and all the Brajavasis took the shelter of Krishna. And then Krishna lifted Govardhan hill, and all the Brajavasis came under the hill, and 7 days, 7 nights continuously, they got the association of Krishna. So another pastime, the message from this pastime, Jiva Goswami was mentioning that. So the one basic reason of this pastime is to take out the pride of Indra. And that other main reason, one of the reasons, hidden reasons Jiva Goswami was highlighting that, see these Brajavasis, Nanda Maharaj, and all other Brajavasis are eternal associates of Supreme Lord Krishna. But in this current Leela, in the current material world, what are they doing? They are worshipping the so-called demigods. So he wanted to tell them that worship wherever you are, you have to take the shelter of Krishna. Worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the topmost thing. To make them realize this point, this Leela was orchestrated. So this is another message we can understand from this Leela, that we have to take the shelter of Supreme Lord Krishna, Bhagavan. He protects us like how he protected Brajavasis from the Indra's anger. Same way, when we take the shelter of Krishna, the personal form of Krishna who is residing in Goloka, who is playing flute, who will have exchanging various rasas with devotees. So that Supreme Lord we have to worship. The form of Krishna is there. Then he really takes care. So this message also tells, in relation to context, we can understand that Bhagavan feature is the topmost. We have to worship Supreme Lord Krishna so that he will protect us all the time. So this is one of the pastime, and from the Govardhan we can connect to our verse and understand. So this way, when we worship Supreme Lord, we perform all the activities, devotion with proper understanding. We will be, like as I mentioned, once you go back to his abode, you will not come back, you will not suffer with a material entanglement. And another important point from this purport is, so there are various points, but one of the important point is like why people are not able to understand Supreme Lord Krishna. That also we can understand from this first section of the purport. So in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, it was mentioned, Krishna's opulence, Aishwarya was explaining, right? Krishna, and even Sankhya philosophy, when we were discussing in this Canto 3, like Kapila Muni was mentioning, like all these material elements were coming from Pradhan and Mahatattva, when Krishna is glancing, and all these things were created. So from this Bhagavad Gita and the Sankhya philosophy, understand that these are all elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether, and the mind, intelligence, and false ego. All these are material energies of Krishna. And in the continuation, in Bhagavad Gita, it was saying that he is the taste of water, the light of the sun and moon, right? Various things. So, and finally in the 10th chapter, the Chatusloki Bhagavad Gita, we said, Aham sarvasya prabhu matta sarvam pravartate, iti matta bhajente mam buddha bhava samanita, right? So, I am the source of all this material and spiritual. So, when we see that from the chapter 7, various elements in the material world are energies of Krishna. And finally, the Krishna is saying that all this material, spiritual and material world is created by me. So what is happening, right? What we can understand, everything is, this material world created is Krishna's energy. And how, when we are dealing with Krishna, we are seeing that dealing with Krishna's energies. But how we are dealing with Krishna? Through our senses and sense objects. So when this also we discussed in the Sankhya philosophy, Kapila Dev was explaining. The sense objects, like form is there. Thus we can see the form through our senses, eyes. And then taste is the sense object. And the taste we can get it from tongue. And the smell is another object, and we can get it through nose. And sound is another one, then ear. And the touch is the skin. So these are various sense objects and the senses. These are all material energies, material energy of Krishna. So when we are interacting with it, but everything is Krishna is one energy. Like all one side Krishna energy coming in different forms, like different objects in material, and other side our senses, like Krishna's, the difference between our senses and Krishna's senses. Our senses, each sense will have particular job, right? But Krishna's sense, it's any sense can do any activity. There is no restriction. So, but we have a sense limitation for with our senses. We can have only leg is there to walk, smell, nose is there to smell, tongue is there to taste, right? We have a limitation. So now we are dealing with Krishna's energies with our different senses. So each sense will give different taste, different input, right? So our senses will understand Krishna, same one energy is there, but we with our through our senses we are understanding differently. Each sense is giving differently. That is that one side Krishna is there, other side our senses are giving different input tastes or the different results of the same absolute truth, same energy of Krishna. So this is where the Mayavada philosophy is coming in. They are misunderstanding the Krishna in a different. What they are saying, the energy is true, Jagat Satyam. But at the same time, we are different energies, our senses are giving different taste, right? That is false. So Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, right? That is what they are saying. That is where all the varieties of taste we are getting, they said that is false. But whereas the Vaishnava philosophy is saying that no, Krishna's energies, that is right, and our senses are giving the different, dealing with the different energies of Krishna. It's not false, rather our senses are dealing with the different energies of the different senses are getting different taste. Each object is different energy. So what in summary, it's not false. If Brahma Satya Jagat Mithya is, Jagat is false, Mayavadi is saying. But our Vaishnava philosophy is that is a diversified energies of Krishna, which is there is the Mayavadi is claiming it is false, but that is not true. So example is saying that, like in the purport he was mentioning, glittering objects, all glittering objects cannot be gold, right? There can be any different things. Not all the glittering objects are gold, but at the same time, glittering objects exist, right? It's not false. That is what the Vaishnava philosophy condemns. The Mayavada philosophy is saying that everything is false. Whatever we are with senses, whatever we are perceiving, that is false. But the Krishna Vaishnava philosophy, he explaining, Prabhupada was explaining, like example, all the glittering objects, it's not gold, but the glittering object exists. Similarly, we are all living in this place. The nice temple is there, and we are all sitting and listening Bhagavatam class. This all cannot be false. What we are trying to do, we are dealing with the different energies of Krishna, it is not false, but it is temporary. One the difference, Mayavadi is saying it is false, But Vaishnava philosophy is claiming that it is temporary. It's a bit of more technical, but we will not go in detail and confuse. I don't want to touch more detailed one, but we'll try to, irrelevant to our topic, we try to understand why we are struggling in understanding the absolute truth. In that context, we are trying to understand. So our senses are trying to deal with Krishna's energy, but we are not able to understand. When we interact with our senses, our senses are conditioned. Our senses are imperfect. Because of that, we are not able to understand that this is Krishna's energy. Because our mind is focused on material enjoyment, we are not thinking, even though it's Krishna's energy means Krishna is present, but we are not able to identify. Same way in our conditioned material world, if Krishna comes in a different form, we are not able to identify. We cannot see is a Krishna, right? That is our conditioned nature. Like in our, if you see our past tense from Srimad Bhagavatam and other scriptures, like when Krishna was in this material world performing Leela, Kunti Maharani, Bhishma Dev, everybody they are able to see Krishna is there. They understand that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. But whereas Kauravas and other people, they are not understanding, they are not able to identify Krishna as a Supreme Lord. One more pastime we can see, Jambavan pastime. In the Shamantakamani Leela, right? Something the Satrajit was having that Samantakamani and he lost it, and the people started blaming that Krishna took that Samantakamani. Then Krishna went to find the Samantakamani, and finally he found that he went into the cave. There he found the Samantakamani, but the Jambavan is there. And Jambavan, there he served Ram in the Treta Yuga. And the same Jambavan, when Krishna is there, Supreme Lord is there in front of him, he was unable to identify the Supreme Lord is. Right? But he had a fight with Krishna, but continuously, I think it was 28 days. And finally, after 28 days, then he realized that no, the same Supreme Lord who stopped Samudra to some ocean to build a bridge to cross over to reach Lanka, and the same Lord who killed Ravan, this Lord is fighting. Then he understood and then he surrendered, right? So, but at least Jambavan is able to realize because he was a devotee of the Krishna. But in our nature, we are not able to understand. Even Krishna comes in front of us, we cannot differentiate, we cannot understand. That is our nature. So, this is our way. These are the various reasons why we are not able to see, understand absolute truth, the Supreme Lord. So, but what is the ultimate solution? Right? So, if we don't know something, we need to understand, we need to get that knowledge. How we can get the knowledge? When we read through scriptures. When we read the scriptures, when we try to understand, when we understand, then we will know the details about Supreme Lord. Like if your person is there, if you want to know about a particular person, how? You can go through his social media. Nowadays that is one of the immediately handily available. You can go to his social media and get his understand, you will get some information. Or you can go to the known person. Through him you can talk to him and you can find a person. Or you can, final option is when you talk to him directly, you will get to know him. Similarly, understanding Krishna, one option in the purport also Prabhupada was recommending is you need to read the scriptures. Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Samhita. These are the scriptures we need to read. When we read these scriptures, when we understand the Krishna, that is what. But when we read scriptures, we may not understand everything. That is where the translation also is a speculation. Sometimes we understand, we speculate in some way, and that may mislead, may give the misunderstanding. Then again, we go in a wrong path. This was the Mayavadi philosophy. They will say Krishna is everything. Krishna is there, like the entire universe is Krishna's consciousness, Krishna's energy. They think that okay, it's a formless. But when we approach, if we are unable to understand particular subject from the scriptures, what we have to do? We have to approach a senior Vaishnava, Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. That is where we need to go approach the Guru, Sadhu and take the help of Shastra. When we treat the combination of these three, will give us the understanding of who is absolute truth, who is Supreme Lord, how we can reciprocate, how we can serve him, then how Krishna reciprocates to us. So this is how we can understand from this verse. So I will conclude here. Any comments? Any? Yes, probably. Yeah. 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 See, actually, in this discussion, many of the things actually what Krishna told, even Krishna also told the karma vimamsa philosophy, where he was saying that karma is the ultimate. So, but see, actually, most of the discussions happened between Nanda Baba and Krishna. He was giving the various arguments which generally we don't follow. Krishna himself condemning, denying those arguments elsewhere in all other places. So, this is only a specific section where he was saying. Maybe what I was thinking is, I mean, I'm not 100% correct, but the mood, Brajavasi's mood is not in Aishwarya Bhava. When if you are worshipping Narayan, it's in the Aishwarya Bhava, Dasya Bhava, right? It's like when if you are worshipping Narayan means it's a Dasya Bhava, right? But Brajavasis are in different mood, right? He doesn't want to. I think that could be my understanding. That could be the reason where he is recommending to again incarnation of Krishna. Govardhan is also it's again Krishna, but he is instead of Narayan he is such. And the Govardhan is there in this area and that area, and they are approach like going there regularly, and they're taking the cows and feeding the cows, and so that's why he use the Govardhan. But in the instead of Narayan, why they didn't use Narayan? Means their mood is not in a Dasya Bhav. That could be the reason. Yeah, so Prabhu, there are two aspects. I think I can answer two separate questions I can see. One is worshipping the demigod. Even that's what I quote the reference from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna was clearly saying in Bhagavad Gita, right? If you are worshipping a demigod, indirectly Krishna is indirect worship of Krishna. He is saying, but people they don't realize, right? So that is not the proper way. He is saying that that's what he said. Avidhi Purvakam. It's not the right approach. He's not saying that no, don't do it, but at the same time he's saying that is not the right way. Right approach is to directly worshipping the Supreme Lord. That is one. But why still people are worshipping demigods? That is because of the lack of knowledge. That is where we have to see the Guru, Sadhu, Shastra will come into the picture. That is one aspect. Why demigod? See, and again, we are not disrespecting demigods. We will like if the Shivaratri comes, many devotees will do fasting, they worship, but the mood should be not looking for some material desire. The mood is to get bhakti. With that mood you worship. That we are not completely denying the demigod worship, but so if the Shivaratri is there, you are worshipping, doing fasting, right? Your mood should be not to get some material benefits, but you ask bhakti to Krishna. That should be our focus. With that intention, we have to deal demigod worship. On the other side, Krishna is saying that is not the right way of doing things. When Krishna is saying this one is right way, what is wrong, proper way, one is improper way. So Krishna is highlighting that the demigod worship is not the direct way of worshipping Krishna. So that is one. The next one you are saying the Govardhan Leela, Govardhan. So how the neophyte people or the other people take it is a mother nature. Right? See, again it comes to old concept of understanding the knowledge. Right? The material energy is everything is Krishna's energy. But people don't have that knowledge, proper knowledge, right? Because of that, they'll see only material nature is separate. They are worshipping material energy, but not with the consciousness that it is Krishna's energy, right? They are not connecting that the energy, Krishna's energy is material. Again, it's like another demigod worship, you can say. But that is their lack of understanding there. But yeah, when we deal with the devotees, it's a too highly topic, maybe they may not understand at the initial level, but yeah, we need to let them, yeah, for people who are coming first time, we can say Govardhan is Krishna. That way you can say the Govardhan past time, but don't give we cannot give too much detailed technical aspects, like this is Krishna's energy, they may not understand. But down the line, when they understand, when they come into the process, we can explain more detailed technical aspects. But the initial stage, okay, Govardhan is Krishna, that we can say. That way we can. Any. Yeah, 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 yeah. So yeah, it's not that just yeah, but Prabhu was saying that common people understand that it could be another demigod or something. But that knowledge, yeah, we cannot get it. But these direct inputs, it is like worshipping Krishna is Govardhan is same as worshipping Krishna. We can give those details. We can give and make them understand. But when they matured enough to understand the more technicality, we can give those level of details. That level of details. Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Can we, in some situations, follow the example of Krishna and in order to attract someone to devotional service, should we use the philosophy of karma mimamsa or not?
But when you follow the karma mimamsa, will it bring the bhakti? It's saying that karma is ultimate. You do karma and you will get the result. So that may not bring the person to Krishna consciousness, right? That will not help you to come into the Krishna consciousness. It will rather, they will think that, okay, I don't need to worry about God. Whatever I do, I will get ultimate result. So I don't need, I do something, I will get. If I do good things, I will get good results. I will do bad things, I will suffer. So that kind of understanding will come. That is what the high level karma mimamsa, right? So that will never bring you to the path of Krishna, because when you come to the path of Krishna consciousness, your understanding is He is the ultimate shelter, He is the controller, He gives everything, right? With that mood we are going, taking the shelter of Krishna. So it's two opposite, I feel, two opposite paths. It will, karma mimamsa will never bring the devotee person into Krishna conscious path. Yes, Prabhu? Yeah. ओके ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय गौर भक्तवृंद की जय।